Ready to start. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. Let's please rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. I would like to remind everybody that this is a public meeting, and we are being recorded via audio and video. And following state law, we are following a hybrid option as well. With that, if you want to address the board, please do so at the podium and give your name and address for the record. And with that, we will go into public hearing mode for CDBG for the PATH project. Judy, I'm going to let you take it away from there.
Thank you, Commissioner. My name is Judy Visick. I represent Dakota Consulting, LLC. My address is 129 South Main Street, Pendleton, Oregon, and 720 Esther Avenue, Ambler, Oregon. Two locations. This public notice, and this is for the public hearing for the PATH project. Umatilla County is eligible to apply for a 2024 Community Development Block Grant in Business, Oregon. Community Development Block Grant funds come from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. The grants can be used for public facilities, water, wastewater improvements, and housing improvements, primarily for persons with low and moderate incomes. Approximately $13 million will be awarded to Oregon non-metropolitan cities and counties in 2024. The maximum grant that a city or county can receive is $250,000. Umatilla County is preparing an application for a 2024 Community Development Block Grant from Business Oregon for PATH project, or for Project PATH. It is estimated that the proposed project will benefit at least 450 people per month, of which 100% will be low or moderate. A public hearing will be held by the Umatilla County Board of Commissioners on August 30th, 2024 at 3 p.m. via Zoom or in person. A link to the Zoom meeting can be found at https://meet.google.com/NEAWJE-AUTHUSER=0 and HS=122. The address for the meeting is room 130, Umatilla County Courthouse, 216 Southeast 4th Street, Pendleton, Oregon. The purpose of this hearing is for the Board of Commissioners to obtain citizen views and to respond to questions and comments about community development and housing needs, especially the needs of low and moderate income persons, as well as other needs in the community that might be assisted with the Community Development Block Grant project and the proposed project. Written comments are also welcome and must be received by 5 p.m. August 29, 2024 at 216 Southeast Street, Pendleton, and 970. Or by email to doug.olson@umatillacounty.gov. Both oral and written comments will be considered by the Board of Commissioners deciding whether to apply. The location of the hearing is accessible to persons with disabilities. Please contact Doug Olson at 541-278-6208 if you will need any special accommodation to attend or participate in the meeting. More information about Oregon Community Development Block Grants, the proposed project, and records about Umatilla County's past use of Community Development Block Grant funds is available for public review at 216 Southeast 4th Street, Pendleton, during regular office hours. Advance notice is requested. If special accommodations are needed, please contact Doug Olson at 541-278-6208 so that appropriate assistance can be provided. Permanent involuntary displacement of persons or businesses is not anticipated as a result from the proposed project. If displacement becomes necessary, alternatives will be examined to minimize the displacement and provide required and reasonable benefits to those displaced. Any low and moderate income housing that is demolished or converted to another use will be replaced.
Thank you. Thank you for catching that typo and fixing it on the fly. That was pretty impressive. Did you catch the typo there? The date had 2023. So With that, anybody who would like to speak in favor of this? Anybody want to speak in opposition? Seeing none, any neutral comments? Either online or in the room? Hearing and seeing none, questions from commissioners?
I have questions. Okay. So, and maybe you can answer if I'm not sure. I have a couple of questions. I'll be totally transparent. I sit on the CAPCO board. So we work with stepping stones, of course. And so I have a couple of questions. One, they had shelter addendum funds that came in. It was about $627,000. And recently, like this month, they had an extra $628,560 come in. And one of the things with the first shelter addendum funds was they applied for those with 49 beds, and they're not up to 49 beds. So where are we at on that as far as getting that done?
I'm not familiar with.
49 beds for the warming.
49 beds for the, in order, when they got the shelter addendum funding,
Right.
what happened was, is they applied for that under the, they said that they were servicing 49 beds.
They are.
Okay, they are?
They are. In the warming and cooling shelter, there are 49 beds.
Well, in the congregate part, there's 20, and then the little huts, there's, how many little huts are there?
21.
So we've got 21, okay. So, all right. There's some question on that, as far as those 49 beds.
I guess I don't know what the question.
The question is they don't have the 49 beds yet, or at least they haven't turned that into the state. So that's my first question. My second question is,
They've only turned in the beds that they are authorized to use,
okay,
which is limited because of the kitchen that this work. Because the water system wasn't in until like, the water tower was not in until like a week ago.
so the new kitchen will free up room to put in an additional,
Not free up room, free up, meet the qualifications to be able to service those beds. You can only turn in the number of beds that you can service,
Right.
not the number that are physically there. There could be 1,000 beds there, but you can only turn in the number that you can physically service.
okay. So you're saying that they can physically service 49 beds? Is that what you're saying?
Once, right now, the answer is no, because of the limitations of the kitchen and because of the limitation on the water. I don't know where they are after the water system in. It could be over 49.
Okay.
It could be over 40.
So you're saying once that they get the new kitchen in, then they'll be able to service
Right.
that number? Okay, so we need the kitchen in there.
It's not the number of beds that you have, it's the number that you can service.
Okay.
That they're reporting.
So then I take it that you hope to have the kitchen in place before June of 25, because that's when the 49 beds, you have to have those in place. So that's what you're thinking?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. And then,
in the $650,000 part,
mhm,
that's the critical nature of the being able to spend the CDBG grant money on the kitchen instead of taking money out of the $650,000, which can be used for operations and maintenance, which the CDBG grant can't be. It has to be for a project. So instead of taking the $250,000 out of the $650,000 and only limiting $400,000 in operation and maintenance, this will allow for this full $650,000 to be dedicated.
okay. Okay, well, that makes sense. And then, I have a question. They're servicing about how many in their congregate area? About 7 to 8 a night? At least that's the,
24.
the little huts.
The station,
Yeah,
the warming,
the congregate area.
they've been averaging about 24. Some hot, some weeks higher, some weeks lower. We just had a report.
Say, that isn't the number they're turning into the state. Because there's about 80 on the coordinated entry list in the Hermiston area. So I just wonder, the only thing I wonder about is that we did a tour there recently, which was, you know, Jessalyn is great. She's doing a great job. But I wonder about their barrier because they're high barrier. They're not low barrier. And so, you know, you're going to have people that are going to turn away just because they don't follow those rules.
What's the barrier?
You have to have, go ahead, Dan.
There's rules to get to, there's very few rules on staying at night. The rules for warming and cooling, staying at night, basically is you can't be disruptive, can't smoke, can't have alcohol, can't have drugs. That's there are exceptions for pets. But the congregant, or not congregant, but the pets themselves, they have different rules. One is you have to be able to display for 14 consecutive days. You have to be able to show up. No drugs, alcohol. In fact, what's really strange about that is you can use during the day. What if you're warming or cooling, which I disagree with, but it's one of the barriers they try to get around. You can use drugs and alcohol during the day, but you can't at the night when you stay there.
So what's the high barrier piece? I mean, that
That's
seems pretty low.
I think what she's what Commissioner Timms is talking about is for the huts. It is a higher barrier.
Yeah, they have a high barrier.
So, yeah, what is it?
You have to have, I don't know all of the rules. She did say something about there's 14 days.
14 days. They think they've changed that to 10, but you have to have, you have to be able to display you're responsible enough to come in and leave the cooling station, so that it also gives them time to go through kind of a navigation process for that week.
I guess to me, a high barrier would be you're in the middle of nowhere, there's no access. That would be a high barrier. I mean, being no drugs or alcohol, I don't see that as being a high barrier.
No, you have to come, it's 14 days, right? Or 10 days, like you said.
Yeah.
And there's certain things they're looking for buy-in before they actually put the residents
Into the
in
hut. But
That's just the huts, though.
yeah.
What about the other piece?
There's very few barriers for that. Even if you get kicked out, if you cause a disturbance, it's only it used to be 30 days. Now I think it's only a 15-day wait before you can get back on the list.
I haven't heard anything that's high barrier yet. So,
But the difference, I think, is comparing it to Promise Inn. Promise Inn has very few barriers. You can have animals in the rooms, but they have the same deal as you have to be able. You can't do drugs or alcohol on site, which is I mean, the beds. Going back to the bed question, like when we toured, I think there's actually how many? I think there's 39 dorm type beds in there, so
There's 20. There's 10, there's 10
There's 20
bunks.
plus the 10 that they hadn't put together. So
Okay.
30, that'd be 30. So
And that was
Still
the
haven't
fire
heard of-
marshal.
yeah, I still haven't heard a high barrier. I guess.
Well, that's the-
Commissioner
yeah.
Timmons right. It's all relative.
Barriers are, that's homeless lingo. I mean, it's, you know, if you're in on this stuff, John, Commissioner Schaefer, you know, high barrier, low barrier.
But anyway,
yeah,
the answer to your question is on the bed, on the reporting on the beds. That was definitely the 49 were definitely more than that Pat even needed to designate to get the grant. But but that is the goal, is 49. Or
Okay.
45.
Well, and
I think it's 45.
if the new kitchen area is going to, get them to that number by June of 25, then they're all.
The water tower is
Good
probably
deal.
the most critical, and it's done. All of those things have to come together to,
I just wonder, because of the coordinated entry number in the Hermiston area, are they reaching who they need? Are they reaching the population they need to reach? Well, yeah, that's a conversation for another day. But this is coordinated entry.
I think they've done an excellent job for a couple of reasons. One is they use Copes as a drop off and pickup. So that's 100% reference there. They have 2 vans that run every day, basically on a schedule and when they need to run.
Is Kayak going out there now?
No, but they have the 2 vans and drivers. They have the 2 vans donated by Amazon, plus they have 2 full-time drivers.
And the vans do have ADA, which I thought was.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else they could do to the community. I mean, they,
It's pretty low barrier to me.
hang in there, Judy. We'll be right back.
I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's people that have differences of opinions on that, but it's the same thing with some facilities that count the homeless by how many they feed,
Yeah.
but they take food to the migrant housing, and they count that as unhoused, so. No sense either. But that's all.
You know me, I do my homework, right?
I know.
I do. So, but thank you for the clarification, Dan, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So,
Any other questions?
Me, no.
Okay, hearing and seeing no questions, we will come out of public hearing mode, go back into our regular scheduled meeting. And with that, what are the wishes of the board?
I would move to approve the $250,000 CDBG grant to be administered by Ducati Consulting and adopt order number BCC 2024-058.
second, but I do have a question. One more question. Do you think that this amount of funding is gonna take care of your project? Or where do you think you're at on that?
We are going to do our best to meet the $250,000. Yes. Yes.
They do, they still have the 650,000.
We're currently getting quotes for the different projects that need to be done for the kitchen and the outdoor kitchen.
Is it a commercial kitchen, then inside, is that what you're going for?
I don't believe so. It's just going to be a regular kitchen inside and an outdoor.
But it does have to be.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
that's the
is
other
that the cost?
barrier for the.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, with that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Judy.
Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you,
Already?
everybody. Yeah, I know.